In the mid-1990s, as the world watched the fall of the Soviet Union, something far darker unfolded in secret behind North Korea's borders, a famine so devastating it may have killed over 2 million people. And yet, the regime has never taken responsibility. This wasn't just a natural disaster. Yes, floods and droughts played a role, but what made it deadly was human choice, specifically the choices of a paranoid, isolated dictatorship that refused help, hoarded resources, and put its military above its people. The crisis began when North Korea's economy collapsed after the fall of the USSR. For decades, Moscow had propped up the regime with food, fuel, and trade. When that stopped, North Korea's agricultural system, already inefficient and centrally controlled, crumbled. Crops failed. Distribution broke down. But instead of turning to the world for help, Pyongyang shut its doors tighter. The government continued to prioritize military spending. Kim Jong-il's regime poured resources into developing nuclear weapons and maintaining the army, even as the population starved. Soldiers ate. Elites in Pyongyang ate. But outside the capital, entire towns had nothing. People boiled tree bark and grass. Some resorted to eating rats. In the worst-hit regions, reports of cannibalism emerged, desperate acts in a country abandoned by its own rulers. International aid agencies offered food, but North Korea resisted. When it did allow assistance, it demanded strict controls, refusing to let aid workers monitor distribution. Much of the food was allegedly diverted to the military or sold on the black market. Even during the worst years, Kim Jong-il was seen indulging in imported luxury goods, cognac, seafood, and Western technology, while children starved in rural villages. And still, the regime refused to acknowledge the scale of the crisis. There was no public mourning, no statistics, no accountability. Families who lost loved ones received no support. There were no reforms to prevent it from happening again. To this day, North Korea calls it the Arduous March, a vague term that avoids admitting famine. School children are taught it was a heroic time of sacrifice. But there was no heroism in it. There was only suffering and silence. North Korea's famine wasn't just a humanitarian disaster. It was a regime-engineered atrocity, made worse by secrecy, pride, and cruelty. Because when a government sees its people as tools, not lives,